I'm Tom from Do-It-Yourself Home Automation, and this is a look at some of the advanced settings on the Nest Learning Thermostat. So I went into the Nest app on my phone and into my downstairs thermostat, and I'm going to go through and take a look at some of these more advanced features. So the first one is Home and Away Assist, so we'll go into that. And this is really one of the sort of signature functions of the Nest Learning Thermostat. And basically, it's able to detect when you're home or away, and it will set the temperature to what it calls an eco temperature when you're out of the house. So that's a temperature that'll save you some money if your house is unoccupied. So this is the screen where you can enable that or disable it. And when you're home, you can select if you want your thermostat to always be on and just working normally, which is what most people would do. And then away, you can set to use an eco temperature, and you can set what those are. So if it's heating, it'll keep the temperature above 66. If it's cooling, it'll keep it below 76. So again, this is really helpful because when it detects that you've left the house, say it's really hot outside, but you don't need your house to be very cool when you're out of it, it'll now keep it below 76, so you won't have things melting in your kitchen or anything like that, but it'll save you some money because you're not trying to cool the house to as low of a temperature. So that's Home and Away Assist. Auto schedule, another kind of signature feature of the Nest thermostat. This is where it learns your schedule as you make adjustments and then automatically sets a schedule going forward. Again, something most people do want to do unless you want to go in and set your schedule manually. Time to temp is kind of a useful function where it learns how your house responds to the use of your heating or cooling system. And it'll predict how long it's going to take to get you to the temperature that you set. So say it's at 72 or something like that, and you change it to 70. It'll give you an estimated time and say it'll be 70 degrees in 1 hour or 2 hours or whatever the time might be. And again, it learns how your house responds when you've changed the temperature in the past, and that's going to be different depending on how much space you have and other kinds of factors, how efficient your system is. So it'll give you those estimates as it learns more about your house over time. Early on is a function where it kind of knows when it's going to change the temperature now once you've set a schedule, and you can actually allow the thermostat to sort of pre-cool or preheat the house so that you get to that specific set point right at the time that you want the house to be that temperature. So you don't have to wait, say you want it to be 72 degrees at 3 p.m., then this will actually start a little bit earlier and start to pre-cool or preheat your house to get you to that set temperature at the set point where you want it to be. So to get you to that 72 degrees at 3 p.m., maybe it'll start at 2:30. It'll start to cool the house down or heat the house up so that by the time you hit the set point, you're already at the temperature that you want. This can be helpful because, if you have a specific time of day, like, your kid's bedtime or something like that, where you need the house to be a specific temperature, you're not having to wait a long time for it to heat up or cool down. And again, this uses the learning function so that it knows how early it has to switch the system on, depending on how your own house responds to temperature changes, to actually achieve the set point at the desired time. So another sort of smart function. Cool to dry is a function that I have switched off at the moment. This is I think to me it's sort of controversial. So all the other functions are about changing the temperature in your house. This is looking at if they switch on, if the system switches on your AC, then it will actually lower the humidity in your home and as well as lowering the temperature. And that tends to make your house feel a little bit more comfortable. And also some people like that because they might have allergies or concerns about mold and things like that with a higher humidity. So if you live in a very humid climate, this might be a really useful thing to switch on. But the downside is that it's kind of expensive because you're running the air conditioner at times when you don't actually need to cool the house down just to reduce the humidity. And you're basically using your AC like a glorified dehumidifier that uses a lot more power than an actual dehumidifier would. Where I am in California, it's really not necessary. But again, if you lived in a very humid climate and you wanted to make sure that your house was staying at a lower humidity and you didn't have a built-in dehumidifier, this could be a setting to consider. Sunblock Basically, it's pretty straightforward. So if your thermostat is in a sunny location and the sun is falling on it, that's obviously going to mess up its temperature reading, and you might end up not cooling the house as much because your thermostat, or not heating the house as much because your thermostat is in the sun, or you might end up cooling it too much because the thermostat's getting heated up by the sun and it thinks the house is hotter than it actually is. So this function is, I think kind of a no-brainer. You can switch that on. It can tell when it's in sunlight, and then it makes adjustments to the temperature settings so that you're not overheating or overcooling. And then finally, there's this leaf function, and this is basically just, it's going to show you, actually one more, leaf function. It's just going to show you a little leaf when you're at what it considers to be an eco temperature. So a temperature that's saving you money, either by heating less or cooling less than the average house would be cooled or heated. So I think this kicks in around maybe 74, 75 degrees for the air conditioner. Again, it's just a way that they're kind of helping you to track when you're doing something that's eco-friendly. And then the actual final function, Airwave, this is one I think is really kind of interesting, and it's one of the kind of smart ways that the thermostat saves you money versus a normal programmable thermostat. And basically the way Airwave works is that it uses your air conditioner to cool the house, but once it reaches a particular set point, instead of just stopping immediately, it first switches off the compressor, which is what uses the most power in an air conditioning system, and then it continues to run the fan for a little bit longer. And the function of that is you're not using as much power, but you're using the fan from your AC to circulate the cool air you've created all around your house. So oftentimes this helps the temperature to drop even maybe another degree after it's finished cooling the house, and it just keeps the cool air sort of moving around so that it's distributed evenly around the house, and you don't cool down the room the thermostat is in while leaving some other room a little bit hotter, and then have to start the system up again more quickly. So I find Airwave to be a good function. It'll identify on the thermostat when it's using Airwave, and I think it's a good money-saving, smart kind of thing to have. So those are all of the advanced functions that you can set on your Nest Learning Thermostat. If you found this helpful in any way, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps.